They are telling you the future is artificial intelligence. But quietly, the most powerful people in the world are buying something that comes from the ground. Not code, not chips, not apps, gold. Think about that for a second. On your screen, they are selling you the dream of AI. Faster jobs, smarter tools, automated businesses, riches overnight. A future where machines write, trade, design, decide, and maybe even replace you. But behind the screen, central banks, governments, billion-dollar funds, and old financial power structures are moving toward something ancient, something heavy, something silent, something that does not need electricity, software updates, or internet connection: gold. And that should make you stop, because when the public is being sold one story and the powerful are preparing for another, you have to ask one dangerous question. What do they know that you do not? Every day, the internet screams the same message. AI is the future. AI will make you rich. AI will change everything. AI will replace workers. AI will build millionaires. AI will create the next wave of wealth. And yes, AI is real. It is powerful. It is moving fast. It is changing work, education, business, and creativity at a speed most people are not ready for. But here is the part nobody wants to say too loudly. The same world selling you the digital future is still running back to the oldest form of financial fear protection in human history: gold. Not because gold is trendy, not because gold has a flashy app, not because gold can write emails or generate images. Gold does not make viral videos. Gold does not pitch you a course. Gold does not promise passive income in 30 days. Gold just sits there, cold, heavy, quiet. And somehow, in the middle of the AI revolution, the people at the very top still want more of it. That is the contradiction. That is the story. And if you understand it early, you will never look at the modern economy the same way again. Because this is not just about AI, and it is not just about gold. This is about trust. Who you trust, what you trust, and what happens when the world's most powerful institutions say one thing in public while protecting themselves in private. Imagine you are 21 years old. You open your phone before breakfast. One video tells you, learn AI or be left behind. Another video tells you, this AI tool can replace 10 employees. Another says, buy the AI stock before it is too late. Another says, start an AI business from your bedroom. Then you open the news. Tech companies are building massive data centers. Investors are throwing billions into chips. Markets are celebrating anything with the word AI attached to it. People are scared of missing out. Students feel behind. Freelancers feel pressure. Office workers feel threatened. Creators feel like if they do not use AI today, they will disappear tomorrow. And somewhere inside that noise, you start to feel it. That small fear in your stomach. What if I am late? What if I miss the biggest opportunity of my lifetime? What if everyone else gets rich while I stay stuck? So you chase it. You buy tools. You watch tutorials. You follow AI influencers. You save posts. You learn prompts. You test apps. You imagine a future where you finally escape stress, bills, low pay, and uncertainty. But while you are looking at the glowing screen, something else is happening far away from your bedroom. Inside central bank buildings, inside government reserves, inside vaults guarded by steel doors and cameras, inside rooms where no motivational video is playing, gold is being counted, gold is being stored, gold is being moved. And this is where the story starts to feel uncomfortable. Because if AI is the future of wealth, why are the world's money guardians buying the past? Why are institutions that understand currency, inflation, debt, and global power still holding on to metal? Why do they talk about innovation in public, but diversify into gold when uncertainty rises? Why does the public get hype, while the powerful get protection? Let that question sit for a moment, because most people think markets move only because of technology. They think the future is decided by the newest invention, the fastest chip, the smartest model, the biggest app, the next breakthrough. But history tells a darker story. Technology creates excitement, But fear protects capital. And when the rich get excited, they buy growth. But when the powerful get nervous, they buy safety. Gold is not a bet that the future will be amazing. Gold is a quiet vote that something may go wrong. That is why this story matters right now, because AI is the loudest trade in the world. But gold is the quietest warning signal in the room. Look around. The AI boom is everywhere. Companies are spending numbers so large they almost stop feeling real. Data centers are being planned like new digital cities. Energy demand is rising. Land is being bought. Power grids are being stressed. Chip companies have become market giants. Every business wants an AI strategy. Every investor wants AI exposure. Every worker is being told to adapt. It feels like the future is being built at full speed. But that future is not free. AI needs electricity. AI needs chips. AI needs cooling. AI needs buildings. AI needs rare materials. AI needs money, not a little money, mountains of money. And here is the hidden tension. When a story becomes so big that everyone believes it must win, the cost of keeping that story alive becomes enormous. AI is not just software floating in the cloud. The cloud is not magic. The cloud is buildings, machines, power lines, water, land, debt, and human labor. Every time someone tells you AI will change everything, there is a massive physical machine behind that sentence. A machine that must be funded, a machine that must be powered, a machine that must produce profits big enough to justify the money being poured into it. And that is where the dream meets the wall. Because AI can be revolutionary and still become overhyped. AI can be useful and still be overpriced. AI can change the world and still create financial bubbles along the way. This is the part young people need to understand. The future can be real, and the hype can still be dangerous. The internet makes everything look simple. It says, just follow the trend. But the people at the top do not survive by following only one trend. They hedge, they diversify, they protect themselves. They know that every boom comes with a shadow, and gold is one of those shadows. Gold does not rise because people feel relaxed. Gold rises when people start asking harder questions. What happens if inflation comes back? What happens if government debt gets too big? What happens if currencies weaken? What happens if wars expand? What happens if markets are too dependent on a few giant tech companies? What happens if the AI dream takes longer to become profitable than investors expect? What happens if everyone rushed into the same story at the same time? These questions are not anti-AI. They are adult questions, and adult money always asks them. That is the difference between the public and the powerful. The public is sold certainty. The powerful buy insurance. Pause in your mind and picture the scene. On one side, a young freelancer sits in a small room, watching videos about AI automation, thinking, this is my way out. On the other side, a central banker sits inside a quiet building, reviewing reserve strategy, thinking about currency risk, geopolitical risk, and financial stability. The freelancer buys the dream. The central banker buys the hedge. And both may be right. That is the strange part. AI may truly reshape the future. Gold may truly protect against uncertainty. The danger is not owning AI tools or believing in technology. The danger is believing only the story they market to you, while ignoring the story they prepare for themselves. Because when everyone is screaming about the next big thing, you have to watch what people do quietly. Not what they say on stage, not what they sell in ads, not what they post on social media. Watch what they hold when nobody is trying to impress you. Gold has survived empires. Gold has survived wars. Gold has survived paper currencies. Gold has survived market crashes. Gold has survived kings, presidents, banks, and revolutions. It is not exciting, but it has memory. And in finance, memory matters. People forget what happened last cycle. Gold does not. People forget inflation. Gold does not. People forget currency crises. Gold does not. People forget that trust can disappear overnight. Gold does not. That is why when the world gets unstable, gold starts looking less like an old rock and more like a silent witness. It has watched human beings build systems and then break them. It has watched nations print money and then lose discipline. It has watched investors fall in love with new dreams and then wake up inside old problems. And now it is watching AI, the most powerful technology story of this generation. The question is AI fake? No, that is too simple. The real question is more uncomfortable. Is AI being used as a growth story for the public while powerful institutions quietly prepare for instability? Because if that is true, then the lesson is not to reject AI. The lesson is to stop being emotionally hypnotized by hype. Hype is designed to make you feel late. Hype is designed to make you feel small. Hype is designed to make you move fast before you think clearly. It tells you everyone is getting rich except you. It tells you this is your last chance. It tells you if you do not act now, you will regret it forever. But real wealth does not come from panic. Real wealth comes from understanding the game. And the game has two sides: growth and protection, risk and safety, the future and the fallback. AI is the future story. Gold is the fallback story. And smart money does not worship one story. It prepares for multiple outcomes. That is the value drop most people miss. You do not have to choose between believing in technology and understanding risk. You can do both. You can learn AI and still understand hard assets. You can use tools and still question valuations. You can build an online business and still understand inflation. You can invest in innovation and still respect history. You can chase opportunity without becoming blind. That is what mature thinking looks like. But the system does not always want mature thinkers. The system wants consumers. It wants buyers. It wants attention. It wants people reacting emotionally. Because emotional people are easier to sell to. Fear of missing out sells courses. Fear of replacement sells tools. Fear of being poor sells risky trades. Fear of being behind sells anything with a futuristic label. And right now, AI is the perfect fear machine. It contains hope and terror at the same time. Hope that you can finally become more productive. Terror that you may become useless. Hope that you can make money faster. Terror that someone else will use it better. Hope that the world is changing. Terror that it is changing without you. That emotional cocktail is powerful. And markets love powerful emotions. But gold is different. Gold does not sell you a dream. Gold sells you a question. What if the dream breaks? That is why the gold story feels darker. It does not sparkle because it is pretty. It sparkles because people are uncertain, and uncertainty is everywhere. Government debt is huge. Geopolitical tension is constant. Currencies are being questioned. Trade routes are fragile. Energy systems are under pressure. Markets are concentrated in a small number of giant technology names. The world feels advanced, but also strangely unstable. We have artificial intelligence that can write essays in seconds, but many people cannot afford rent. We have apps that can generate fake worlds, but real families are drowning in debt. We have billion-dollar companies building machines that think, while workers wonder if they will be needed next year. We have record innovation and record anxiety living in the same economy. That is the contradiction of our age. Everything looks futuristic. But emotionally, people feel less secure than ever. And when people feel insecure, they look for something solid. For some people, that solid thing is faith. For some, family. For some, land. For central banks, it is gold. Now listen carefully. This does not mean you should blindly buy gold. This does not mean AI stocks will crash tomorrow. This does not mean every tech company is a scam. This does not mean the future is doomed. Simple answers are usually wrong. The point is bigger. The point is that the people who control money understand something most people are never taught. A powerful portfolio is not just built for dreams. It is built for shocks. It is built for the moment when the beautiful story gets interrupted. And every beautiful market story eventually gets interrupted. Sometimes by interest rates, sometimes by inflation, sometimes by war, sometimes by energy costs, sometimes by regulation, sometimes by competition, sometimes by simple math. Because no matter how exciting a technology becomes, it still has to answer one brutal question. Can it produce enough real profit to justify the price people are paying for it? That question destroys weak bubbles. It separates real innovation from pure speculation. It turns hype into numbers, and numbers are where fantasies go to be tested. AI companies will have to show real revenue, real margins, real productivity gains, real customers, real returns on massive infrastructure spending. If they do, the boom can continue. If they do not, the market will start asking questions that no marketing campaign can answer. And while that test happens, gold sits in the corner, silent, not promising to outperform, not promising to change the world, just promising one thing: I am not someone else's liability. A stock depends on a company, a bond depends on a borrower, a currency depends on a government, a bank deposit depends on a bank, a digital asset depends on networks, rules, trust, and electricity. But physical gold is different. It does not depend on a CEO giving a good earnings call. It does not depend on a startup achieving profitability. It does not depend on an app staying popular. It does not depend on a politician keeping promises. That is why institutions hold it, not because it is perfect, but because it is different. And in a crisis, different matters. The public is often taught to chase what is moving fastest, but power often protects itself with what lasts longest. That is the hidden lesson. Speed impresses people. Survival impresses history. AI is speed. Gold is survival. And the world is watching both rise at the same time. That is not random. That is a signal. The signal says, we are building the future, but we are not fully sure the system holding it together is safe. That is intense, because it means the world is not simply optimistic. It is optimistic with one hand and nervous with the other. One hand funds AI data centers. The other hand stacks gold reserves. One hand says, the future is digital. The other hand says, keep something physical. One hand says, trust the model. The other hand says, trust the metal. And the public rarely sees both hands at the same time. They only see the hand waving in front of the camera. They see the launches, the conferences, the glowing charts, the billionaire speeches, the headlines, the viral predictions. They do not always see the quiet repositioning underneath. But once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And this is where the dopamine spike hits. The AI boom may not be the opposite of the gold boom. It may be one of the reasons gold is attractive. Because the bigger the AI boom gets, the more money must be spent, the more power must be consumed, the more markets depend on a few companies, the more investors crowd into the same trade, the more governments compete for technological dominance, the more pressure builds inside the system. In other words, AI is not just creating excitement, it is creating concentration, and concentration creates fragility. If one small area of the market carries too much hope, the whole market becomes sensitive. If one technology becomes the answer to every earnings call, every corporate strategy, every investor question, and every economic dream, then that technology is no longer just technology. It becomes a belief system. And belief systems are powerful until belief breaks. That is what history teaches. Railroads were real, but railroad bubbles still happened. The internet was real, but the dot-com crash still happened. Housing was real, but the housing bubble still exploded. Crypto was real, but cryptomanias still burned people. AI can be real and still create a bubble around it. That sentence is the key. Real technology does not protect you from fake prices. And when prices become disconnected from reality, someone gets hurt. Usually not the people who sold the dream early, usually the late believer. The ordinary person who arrived after the story became obvious. The student who put savings into hype, the worker who followed influencers, the freelancer who borrowed money to chase a trend, the family that trusted the headline. That is why this matters for youth, students, and freelancers, because you are the target audience of every future selling machine. You are ambitious. You want freedom. You want income. You want skills. You do not want to be left behind. So the internet knows exactly how to push your emotional buttons. It shows you someone younger than you getting rich. It shows you screenshots. It shows you luxury cars. It shows you fake urgency. It turns your insecurity into their business model. And then, while you are busy trying not to miss the future, the most powerful institutions are quietly managing risk. That should not make you angry only. It should make you smarter. Because once you understand the game, you can still play, but you play with your eyes open. You learn AI as a tool, not as a religion. You study markets as systems, not as casinos. You ask who profits when you panic. You ask what risks are being hidden behind exciting words. You ask whether the people selling certainty are also buying protection. And most importantly, you stop confusing a trend with a plan. A trend is what everyone is talking about. A plan is what protects you when everyone is wrong. That is the difference. If you are young, you do not need to be scared of AI. You need to be prepared. Learn it, use it, experiment with it, build with it, but do not worship it. Do not let any technology make you forget basic financial truth. Cash flow matters, debt matters, risk matters, energy matters, valuation matters, trust matters. And when trust weakens, gold becomes louder without saying a word. That is why gold's rise is emotionally powerful. It is not just a price chart, it is a trust chart. When people trust paper, gold sleeps. When people question paper, gold wakes up. When people believe currencies are stable, gold feels boring. When people doubt governments, debt, inflation, or global stability, gold becomes interesting again. And right now, gold is not asleep. That does not mean disaster is guaranteed. It means powerful people want insurance. And insurance is most valuable before the storm is obvious. By the time everyone sees the storm, insurance is already expensive. That is how the world works. The public often reacts after the fact. The powerful prepare before the fact. So the real question is not, should I buy AI or gold? That is too small. The real question is, am I being trained to chase stories while ignoring signals? Because the signals are everywhere. The AI story says the future will be automated. The gold story says the system may be unstable. The data center story says the digital future has physical limits. The central bank story says trust in reserves is changing. The market concentration story says too much hope may be sitting in too few places. And the average person is stuck in the middle, trying to understand what is real. So let's make it simple. AI is a tool. Gold is a hedge. Hype is emotion. Wealth is strategy. If you mix those up, you become easy to control. If you understand the difference, you become harder to fool. That is the lesson they do not put in the ads. The ad says, buy the future. The vault says, prepare for uncertainty. The influencer says, this will change your life. The central bank says, without saying it directly, we still want something that survives when trust gets tested. And between those two messages is the truth. The future may be digital, but fear is still ancient. People still run to safety. Institutions still protect themselves. Governments still worry about power. Investors still follow crowds. And ordinary people still get hurt when they mistake marketing for reality. That is why you must become the kind of person who can hold two thoughts at once. AI may be one of the greatest technologies ever created, and the AI boom may still be dangerous if people overpay, overborrow, overbuild, or overbelieve. Gold may not create innovation, and gold may still reveal deep fear inside the system. Both can be true. The world is not simple. Markets are not simple. Power is not simple. But the pattern is simple. When everyone is being sold excitement, look for where the serious money is hiding caution. That is where the real story lives. Not in the loudest headline, not in the brightest stage presentation, not in the influencer shouting, "This is your last chance." The real story often sits quietly in balance sheets, reserves, vaults, and long-term strategy. And right now, that quiet story is saying something. It is saying the world is excited, but not comfortable. It is saying the future is being built, but trust is being questioned. It is saying technology is racing forward, but ancient fear has not disappeared. It is saying the people at the top want exposure to growth, but they also want protection from the system they helped create. That is the contradiction. That is the warning. That is the opportunity. Because if you are watching this and you feel behind, breathe. You are not late because you did not buy every AI stock. You are not stupid because you do not understand every new tool. You are not doomed because the internet says everything is changing. The first step is not panic. The first step is awareness. See the story, see the incentives, see the money, see both hands, the hand selling the future and the hand buying protection. Once you see both, you stop being just a consumer of hype. You become an observer of power. And that changes everything. Because the world does not reward the person who believes every story. It rewards the person who understands why the story is being told. Why now? Who benefits? What is being ignored? What risk is being hidden? What protection are the powerful buying while the public is being pushed toward excitement? These questions are not negative. They are protective. They are how you keep your mind clear in a world designed to overload it. So do not reject AI. Master it. Do not blindly chase gold. Understand why it matters. Do not hate technology. Respect risk. Do not fear the future. Prepare for more than one version of it. Because the people who survive big transitions are not always the loudest believers. They are the ones who adapt without becoming blind. They learn the new tools, but they remember old lessons. They move with the future, but they keep one eye on history. They understand that every boom creates winners, but every boom also creates victims. And the difference is often simple. Winners manage risk before the crowd notices it. Victims discover risk after the crowd denies it. That is the emotional landing of this story. They are selling you AI while buying gold. But that does not have to make you powerless. It can make you awake. It can make you calmer. It can make you sharper. It can teach you to stop reacting to every headline like it is a command. It can teach you to ask better questions before you give your money, your attention, or your future to someone else's narrative. Because in the end, AI may write the next chapter of human progress. But gold is reminding us of the chapter humans keep repeating. Hype rises, crowds follow, power protects itself. The latecomers take the most pain. Then everyone says, nobody could have seen it coming. But someone always saw something. The signs were there. The behavior was there. The contradiction was there. You just had to look away from the screen long enough to notice the vault. So the next time someone tells you the future is only digital, remember this. The future may run on artificial intelligence, but fear still runs to gold. And if the people selling you tomorrow are quietly protecting themselves from tomorrow, then maybe the smartest move is not to panic. Maybe the smartest move is to wake up, learn the tools, follow the money, respect the risk, and never forget that when the public is sold a dream, the powerful often buy insurance. If this opened your eyes, stay with this channel because the next story goes even deeper into the money system most people use every day, but almost nobody truly understands.